I couldn't attend your 60th birthday celebration because of a business trip. I didn't think it was a big deal, but apparently, it was to you. You declared, I don't consider you family, don't bother coming back. You're getting a divorce. It stunned me how casually my mother-in-law decided the fate of my marriage. Fine, if that's what she wanted, I wouldn't return. But then, the calls began, desperate and incessant. Please come back home, she pleaded. My name is Tracy. I'm a 30-year-old office worker, married to Joey for 3 years. Looking back, I'm amazed we've lasted this long. Joey and I met through work. He frequently visited my office on business. I admired his earnest dedication and found his friendly, proper greetings endearing. One evening, by chance, we bumped into each other at a bar while I was out with a coworker. Drinks led to exchanging numbers, then dates, and, within a year, a proposal. Our whirlwind romance felt like fate, and our wedding was a beautiful affair with friends and colleagues from both sides celebrating our union. The early days of marriage were blissful, but cracks appeared, mostly due to my mother-in-law. From the start, her behavior made me uneasy. She doted on Joey excessively, always boasting about him. Joey is exceptional, she'd say, top of his class in school, thriving at work, a son to be proud of. Joey, embarrassed, would laugh it off. Mom, stop it. But she wouldn't stop. She even recounted how he excelled in elementary school sprints. If it had been harmless parental pride, I wouldn't have minded, but her adoration for Joey came with a sharp edge, directed at me. Tracy, are you cooking nutritious meals for Joey? Send me photos of everything you make, she demanded soon after our wedding. Her intrusive request caught me off guard, but her persistence wore me down. Reluctantly, I started sending pictures of our meals. That's when the real trouble began. Not enough vegetables, she'd scold. Too little meat. The presentation is awful. There's no variety. I worked full-time and juggled long hours, but her relentless critiques left me feeling inadequate. Joey, however, never complained. He enjoyed my cooking and always cleaned his plate. Yet her words planted seeds of doubt, and I began obsessively improving our meals, even when utterly exhausted from work. Joey didn't know how to cook, so the responsibility fell entirely on me. Even if he tried, I'd have to send photos, and she'd still blame me for any perceived shortcomings. So I cooked, no matter how tired I was. The strain grew unbearable. One evening, after a grueling day, I received her usual call. Why haven't you sent today's photo? She barked. I just got home, I replied wearily. Just got home? That's unacceptable. This was my life, walking on eggshells, striving for her approval, all while trying to keep my marriage intact. My mother-in-law's latest phone tirade began like clockwork. How can you let Joey wait hungry until this late? What have you been doing? I was at work, I replied, exhausted from yet another overtime shift. Don't lie, you must have been out having fun, she accused, her voice dripping with disdain. I'm an office worker, you know, I said firmly, though I knew reasoning with her was futile. Oh, please, even if you say that, you're probably not given any significant work, she scoffed. Her contempt was rooted in my educational background. I'd graduated college, but not from a prestigious institution, and for that, she relentlessly looked down on me. A woman from such a third-rate college married my Joey, she'd muttered at our very first meeting. The memory still stung. Joey had only responded with a wry smile and offered no defense. That reaction had planted seeds of doubt. Did he agree with her? Was he ashamed of me too? As the years passed, I realized Joey was a textbook mama's boy. Her constant doting and pampering ensured he treasured her above all else. At first, we spent quality time together as newlyweds, but gradually, his priorities shifted to frequent visits to his parents' house, while I avoided tagging along when possible. Holiday visits like Easter and Christmas were non-negotiable. Every trip was an ordeal. Tracy, your cooking is terrible. I feel sorry for Joey every day, she would sneer. Watching you cook in person confirms it, you're failing as a woman. Cooking in her kitchen was a nightmare. She deliberately withheld basic instructions, sabotaging the process while berating me the entire time. Her attitude was clear. I wasn't just a daughter-in-law, I was an interloper, the enemy who'd stolen her precious son. The relentless harassment took its toll. Joey's unwillingness to stand up for me, coupled with his growing indifference, made me question our marriage. The thought of divorce lingered, but the fear of regret and the effort I'd put into this relationship held me back. And so, 3 years dragged by. Her criticisms escalated with a new target: children. It's been 3 years, and you haven't given me a single grandchild. Useless. Coming from a third-rate university, everything about you is third-rate, your homemaking, your work. The only contribution you could make is having children. Her words were cutting, but I refused to let them break me. People who are truly happy don't need to tear others down. Her persistence only underscored her own unhappiness, and while her harassment grated on me, this perspective offered some solace. But then she crossed another line. She began visiting our home frequently. Previously, Joey's visits to his parents' house kept her at bay. Now, she claimed, Joey is too busy, so she came to us instead. Her visits were anything but cordial. She scrutinized every aspect of our lives, offering unwelcome commentary and interfering with my routines. It felt like there was no escape, no sanctuary. Each day, the weight of her presence loomed heavier, and I wondered how much longer I could endure this life. When I came home late from overtime, I was greeted by an unpleasant surprise. My mother-in-law's belongings were scattered at the entrance. In the living room, she and Joey were enjoying a meal together. "Hi, Tracy, you're back. Joey and I were just having a lovely time together. Too bad you missed it," she said smugly, glancing at me with a triumphant look. "Hi, you're here," I responded, trying to keep my tone neutral. "Yes, I came to see Joey. There's nothing prepared for you, so make something for yourself," she added dismissively, clearly relishing her position as the queen of the moment. Too exhausted to engage in pleasantries, I decided to take an assertive stance. "Did you use the groceries without asking? It's common sense to at least let me know," I said firmly. Her face turned crimson with indignation. "Why should I have to ask you? Living off Joey's support, and yet you have the nerve to talk to me like this." I froze. Living off Joey's support? I glanced at my husband, who was staring uncomfortably at the table. He didn't defend me. The truth was, the reality she believed couldn't be further from the truth. I was the one financially supporting our household. As a manager at a thriving company, my salary was significant. Joey, despite his high academic background, struggled in his overly competitive workplace, passed over for promotions and outpaced by younger colleagues. His salary had dwindled to less than half of mine. Yet, my mother-in-law was oblivious, and her delusions continued unchecked. "That's right," she sneered. "You're in the position of asking Joey to marry you. How dare you act so insolent? You're hopeless, can't do housework, can't work properly, and can't even have children. It's just a series of can'ts. Who knows when Joey might leave you?" I turned to Joey, silently begging for him to stand up for me. He shifted uncomfortably before mumbling weakly, "Mom, don't say things like I'm leaving her." "Oh, Joey, you're always so kind," she cooed, ignoring his plea. "But if I don't keep this woman in line, she'll get carried away. I won't allow it." I was at my breaking point. My mother-in-law's constant harassment was one thing, but Joey's inability, or unwillingness, to defend me cut deeper than her words ever could. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, another crisis arose. While on a business trip, my phone began buzzing incessantly. Annoyed but curious, I stepped into the restroom to check it. My mother-in-law had called repeatedly, assuming it wasn't urgent. I turned off my phone to focus on work. When I turned it back on after my meetings, the number of missed calls had multiplied. Concerned it might be serious, I reluctantly called her back. She answered on the first ring, shouting before I could say a word, "You're late. Answer the phone immediately, you fool." Her voice was so shrill I switched to speaker mode to save my ears. "What do you want?" I asked, my patience already threadbare. "We're having my 60th birthday celebration tomorrow, and you must attend." "What, your 60th birthday?" Regret washed over me for even calling her back. The relentless calls from my mother-in-law continued, and when I finally answered one, her tone was commanding. "I've invited all our relatives, so you must come. You'll be preparing the food and handling all the party preparations." I sighed deeply. "That's impossible." Her voice rose sharply. "What are you saying? You don't have the right to refuse." "I'm on a business trip right now," I explained, trying to stay calm. "Business trip? Don't lie, you're probably just on vacation. Hurry back," she barked. I had reached my breaking point. "Stop it. I'm working, and it's impossible for me to attend. I won't be there." Her response was immediate and venomous. "Then I don't consider you family. Stay on your business trip forever. Don't bother coming back, you're getting a divorce." Her words didn't sting the way she probably intended. Instead, they felt like a release. I had already reached my limit, and her declaration solidified my decision. "Fine," I thought. "I'll do exactly as you wish." I refused to return, ignored Joey's calls, and even blocked my mother-in-law when she began bombarding me with messages. I moved back to my parents' house and started commuting to work from there. A month passed peacefully before she called again, this time sounding desperate. "Please, come back right now. If things continue this way, Joey will be..." Her voice wavered, panicked. Without my income, Joey couldn't cover their rent, and his inability to handle basic chores meant my mother-in-law had to step in to clean and manage his life. Facing eviction and mounting financial strain, her desperation was palpable. But it wasn't my problem anymore. I cut her off mid-sentence. The signal seems bad. I can't hear you. In any case, I'll be divorcing Joey. Goodbye." "Wait, hold on." I hung up and blocked her number for good. The next step was hiring a lawyer and formally filing for divorce. Joey caved quickly, avoiding a court battle, and I even secured alimony from him. After the divorce, Joey moved back in with his mother, but life didn't improve for them. His lies about supporting our household were exposed. His already stagnant career took a nosedive after a major mistake, and his salary was cut further. My former mother-in-law, devastated by the reality of her son's unreliability, fell into a bedridden depression. Joey sent me numerous emails begging for help, but I didn't bother responding. They were a toxic pair, and cutting ties with them was the best decision I'd ever made. Now, I've settled into a single apartment close to work and am fully focused on my career. I'm not interested in love or relationships for the time being. Instead, I'm channeling my energy into achieving new milestones and aiming higher professionally. My future feels bright and free, something I'd never have had if I stayed.